So my homework for you that you've already sent me, good job, you've turned it in on time, was to 1 to 10 mental going into the game. Basically saying like, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10, mentality wise? Like how well do you feel like you can focus? Do you mind if I show this to people watching, or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so you sent me this. What are your impressions?
So when I started to do it, I actually had to be very intentional, and I think it caused me to actually think about how I'm going into the game. So I think my win rate increased just because like every time I was thinking, am I ready? And if I wasn't ready, I wasn't queuing up, to be honest. I was gonna get a cup of coffee or water or something. Then at some point I stopped doing it because I said, well, it's great actually. I was on a 10 winning streak, which was the first time that ever happened in 10 years of Dota. So
Orders. I see
I
this
said,
these win right here is pretty sick.
yeah, some of it was the secondary account, so it kind of adds up. But the point is that once I stopped doing it, I actually lost track. So I don't know how I did it. But yesterday when I was having this losing streak, I realized, hey man, I didn't even think about self-checking myself. So I think it's a good practice to keep for a bit more.
Okay. Yeah, so the way I view these things is that, I've talked about like the effort level of things, and just generally speaking, the habits we form allow us to basically increase our potential while our effort remains the same. So, but in the short term, it's progressive overloading, where it's like, in the short term, you're doing something that you're not used to thinking about. You're doing it very intently, very consciously, and what happens is, at some point, that thing becomes a habit. At some point, you just do it without thinking. And, sometimes you'll think that you've hit that habit. Like, sometimes you'll be like, okay, I'm good now. Like, I understand going into games. This is good for me. And then, you'll have a bad week, or you'll have a bad day, and then you'll forget to do it. And then you'll realize, oh, I thought I had this habit down, and I didn't. Something like that, So what I've basically done for myself is just think like, yeah, okay, like I like you did, where you kind of left it in your bank of thoughts where you're like, that is something that's good for me to do. I should do it. I thought I would continue to do it, but I'm not doing it anymore. So maybe you have to run back to like, go back to doing it again. Go back to documenting to make yourself, basically force yourself to do it. Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, the thing is, you shouldn't have to do, theoretically, right? You shouldn't have to do this for all of eternity, right? We're like telling you to think of your mental alertness going into the game, and if you think critically about that for X amount of time or whatever, then eventually you'll just do it by default, and it won't be hard for you, right? It'll take like 3 or 4 seconds to kind of just check in with yourself, rather than however long it's taking now. It's funny because I always view Dota like this, and it's so simple when you think of it in Dota terms. It's like, you gotta come to the right decision in like 2 seconds instead of 10, and that's like a lot of MMR in Dota, and it's like, why can't real life just be like that? Okay, cool, man. Yeah, sweet. Okay, so you've given me 2 games today.
Yeah, I thought we would start with the laning stage one first, and then move to the other one, if we can.
Sure. Generally speaking, carry players get really sad when you leave, even if that's not something you should worry about too much, because they're thinking how much better their lane could be, not about the, the bigger picture of the game. Huh, cool little move there. I think, okay, I will say this, that certain heroes are insanely important to punish level 1. Like, really important. Like, the weaker they are level 1, the more important it is that you're there. Bristleback is very weak level 1. It is very important that we harass him. We make him spam quills when he doesn't have Bristleback, he doesn't have level 2 quills. So I think the move you made there could be good to like give some momentum to bottom lane, but it would be in a lane where you can't really shut the offlaner down level 1 because they're really strong, and your carry can't really do anything either. Any questions?
No, I see it. I just didn't think about it.
Yeah. So, cool idea. Now use it in the right times, and then we're good. Okay, get a D ward off. Usually these like sustain-based offlaners are the ones that you want to punish. Like the ones that you think where they take damage in order to trade and then they heal. It's like Axe, Legion, Bristle, Necro, stuff like this, are the ones that fit the description of like they should be punished level 1 if possible. Because they either get above that threshold where you can't harass them out anymore, or they like literally feed, is what happens sometimes. Like yesterday, I punished a Necrophos level 1 really hard, and the guy was just like losing by 3 levels. Like he just, you know, the lane was literally over. A lot of those lanes are decided level 1 and 2. But okay, so let's see.
I think also they have some low armor. I mean, I don't know about LC, but the other ones have low armor.
Yeah, LC's like 2 armor, I think, maybe 3. So pretty low. This is just a really bad purchase. Let me think about why I said that, though.
It doesn't give me anything. I should have waited for the Blade Mail armor. That at least has some value in the lane.
Yeah, so if you wanted an item that gave you stick, or gave you mana, then you would just get stick. Because it also gives you HP against Bristle.
So I don't know why I bought it. I sometimes like buy whatever is next on the queue.
Yeah, I got you. That's probably the only answer. I like, to me, that would be a sufficient explanation for why you bought this item. It's just like, I queued up Medallion and the gold ding, you know, went off and I bought it. That is what it is. So we're already working on your mindfulness going into the game. And I'm just bringing to your attention the fact that that will also help you with your mindfulness in the game over time. You know, as you get generally more mindful, these are the type of moments where you just wouldn't buy that Sage's Mask. Because, like, I can totally relate to, like, why you just queued it up at the beginning of the game and then you bought it. Like, I get that. So, all I'm really trying to say right now is that what ideally I would think about here is what's happening in the lane, and that should be my items. Like, theoretically, that's the goal. Like, that's when I say, like, the mindfulness aspect is, I'll just ask you, you know, what happened in the first, like, 2 to 3 minutes of the lane? Like, what were you thinking? Like in terms of, was there a lot of trading, no trading, killing? Were you winning? Were you losing? You know, what was happening?
There was a lot of trading. I think there was a lot of spells cast, and I felt bad that they didn't have the stick. I also wanted to punish Jakiro because I thought definitely I would out-trade him right-clicking. And so I was searching for trades, but didn't want to disconsider stuff like pulling or dewarding either. So it was a bit of, I was only thinking about how to interact with the heroes, but still not forget my lane. So I probably wasn't paying attention to, well, certainly not the minimap or at this stage, or the items I buy.
Yeah, so what I want you to know is that your awareness of what's going on in the lane is, let me think about like a proper metaphor here. I would view that as knowing you're hungry, and then buying items would be eating the food. It's like, oh, I know I'm hungry, and then if you don't buy the right items, you just like didn't eat, and then okay, I know I'm hungry, but now what? It's like, I want you to be aware that this is what's happening in your lane. This is what it feels like. But if you don't buy the right items with what that feels like, it's good that you're working on your mental awareness, but it's not actually doing anything for you. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's a good practice. It's not bad, but that awareness is what's going to get you to buy the right items. So what we're going to help you train, hopefully, is this awareness in the sense of, you told me there's a lot of trading and there's a lot of spells being casted, a lot of back and forth. What does that tell you about items? Like, what do you think about items when you hear that?
I need stats, maybe a windlace to be constantly at the edge of the range and try not to get quilled.
It's tough to kite heroes like Bristle and Jakiro, but I understand what you're thinking.
Yeah, and regen. I mean, if there's a lot of trading.
Regen.
And yeah.
There you go. What I would have loved to see is 6 tangos on top of what you bought to start, 3 of which are going to Ricky, 3 of them are going to you, and a stick. And this lane would just be way better. Like, because you felt what was happening in the lane, and if you feel it and you respond to it, your items will just look really good. And the thing is that you may not have that innate instinct yet of like, oh, it's a region, like, there's a ton of trading going on. What does that exactly mean? Like, we had to pull you out of the game, talk to you about it, and then we came to the conclusion together, right? So right now it took, 30 seconds to a minute for us to get to the point. Ideally, over time, you'll see, it's a lot of trading going on. I guess I need to invest in some more regen, and then you'll do it.
I could have seen that first minute because when I came to the lane, Ricky was really low already.
Yeah.
So I should have helped him first and then consider that, okay, I'm also low, so let me regen up.
There you go. I mean, that's you
and
basically...
that's why we died first time, yeah.
Yeah, that's you basically hearing what I said and then connecting the dots within the game that you're playing. So that's good. He's trapped. Little cool rotation. This is what people love about Nature's Prophet. They think it's so balanced. Okay, so you definitely need to do this, but my issue here is, what do you think my issue is?
I TP'd into vision?
No, that's fine. I'm talking about you did the gank. Now what?
Now it's over, and then I have to think about resetting.
Okay. So where would my camera go?
To my lane, to Ricky.
Yeah, I just need to know what's going on up here.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
And it's
you look
actually
at
quite
this.
a lot of activity.
Yeah, and so the thing is, if you look here, Ricky's full HP, looks like he's farming. Dude, just keep doing you. You know what I mean? Like, just keep going. But if this is what I see, time to TP top and pull.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so I don't mind the rotation. I think it's totally fine that you did the rotation. But yeah, we've obviously have in my notes the is it over thing. That's what I've talked about pretty much about every support player I've coached. So, yep, it's over. Look top. That's my issue. The play itself is fine. Yep. Oh, there you go. So there you go. You look top. 35 seconds late. We just got to get that faster. That's all. You're doing the right things. We just got to get it faster. So the cool thing about this was that you should have TP top, and then your TP would have been cooldown again, like it would have been up. Dude, imagine if you had looked top, TP'd there, pulled, trade a little bit, saw the sniper, used your TP to come here, and then killed him, you would literally be owning. Like, think about it, dude, right? Like, so you've got, like, there's glimpses of greatness here. And you can see why I'm telling you maybe Ricky's being a little whiny baby because he's full HP and the other two guys are chill. Like, but you can see from his perspective that, like, and we pointed out your perspective that you could have TP'd back top for 30 seconds, helped him out, probably gotten a kill here looking at what's happening, right?
Yeah.
And then also killed Sniper, and you could have just literally destroyed the entire game. You know, you won 2 of the lanes effectively, but then you TP top too late, and so basically what happened here is every lane we want to get as an accurate representation for ourselves every game of how many resources every lane needs. So you neglected top for about 45 seconds extra, and then you tried to make up for it.
Yeah.
And then you died. So just note that what is happening here is a result of your neglect from minute like 4:15 to like 4:45, and if you neglect something, I just need you to know that that happens. It is what it is. But then trying to instantly fix it, how does that work out in real life?
You overcompensate and do worse.
You know, yes, exactly. And that's what happens here. So once again, BSJ connecting dots that none of us like to admit that are there, which is that real life looks like Dota. So, yeah. Next, any other questions about that?
No. In my defense, it feels like I was pretty alert at the time I was watching the map, but then I couldn't just hold everything in my head, so I kind of neglected Ricky, which definitely not the lowest priority. But yeah, I have to work on...
What makes you defend yourself there?
I don't know, the fact that I want to be better, but I don't believe I have the potential to be, I guess.
It's an interesting question, right? Because it's like, well, I mean, I thought I was kind of being complimentary to you. Like, I feel like I've been like, yeah, man, there's a lot of good things going on here. And then you did this one thing that like could have been better, right? And I just found it interesting that your response was to defend yourself, because overall I think these are good things. Like, what's happening here is a good thing. Don't worry, I do it too. I've found that whenever I defend myself, I like to ask myself why I defended myself, because usually it's unnecessary. I ask myself, was the person that I'm talking to attacking me? And then if the answer is yes, then I'm like, okay, that makes sense why I defended myself. But you can be honest, like, did you feel like I was attacking you there?
No, not at all.
Okay.
No, I was having a conversation with myself, I think.
Cool. Then, yeah, that's fine. I was just curious. I find it interesting. But yeah, man, I'll tell you, man, you're more than capable of doing what I just said. Like, more than capable. By no means is it because you can't do it now that, like, you should feel bad or, like, you're not good enough or whatever. Like, the thing is that you are operating, right? So maybe right now, the things you're doing are hard for you, right? It's like, you know, you went bottom. Like, you saw an opportunity to kill that Arc Ward and you killed him. You thought about going mid. And for the next month or two, you have to keep doing this until, just like the mental awareness check-in at the beginning of the game, you will naturally check the safe lane as a Prophet player, where you look to gank them and then you look to gank mid. And then after that feels natural, you know, that will feel natural. You'll feel like you're just existing and you're able to do that. You'll then be able to fit in checking your safe lane.
Yeah.
While you're doing that, right? So just note that, like, by no means are you far off. This is just, you know, this is the learning process that every bracket goes through. Like, it doesn't matter if you're 2K, 10K. It's like, this is what I'm currently capable of doing. I want to try to be curious, try to be observant of what the next thing is. You know, what's the next thing that I could add to my skill set? And for you, we're just talking about while you're ganking, keeping tabs on your safe lane and potentially going back there for short periods of time. You know?
That's a good lesson. Yeah.
So yeah, let me just say in my notes, while ganking, keeping tabs on safe lane. I mean, looks like you play a lot of prophets, so that's definitely a very important skill on a hero that could be pretty much anywhere. Are we good with this game, by the way? Like, do you want to go to the next one?
Yeah, I think we are.
Okay.
Yeah, this one we lost, even though like laning stage was okay. So I wouldn't look at the first 7 minutes. I mean, of course, there's things to improve there, but
Yeah,
I would look past that. I hate these times where I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Nothing is happening, and as prophet, I always want to do something.
Okay, so my question is, do you think it's possible to have there be something to do every game?
Most of the times, yes. I mean, I think it's very rarely that you say, hey, there's no runes, there's no nothing, I can just sit behind the guy.
Okay, but you're saying, so what I meant is you said you want to be active, and I meant that in the context of like, can you be active every game?
So I would answer with yes. I mean, I have some experiences like recently where I was so far behind that I couldn't do anything, contribute to anything, so I retreated to jungle and started farming my level 6 or something. So not with Prophet, with I think Invoker. But yeah, generally there should be stuff that I can get active every game. What are you thinking?
I was just curious what your answer to that was. I don't really have any response. So, my comment on this game is that you're against some pretty kill-heavy heroes, meaning, you know, Sand King, pretty kill-heavy, even Skywrath Mage, literally their entire team, actually. What do you think about your cores?
Lifestealer likes to farm. Slardar likes to be active, like roam around the map. If he gets boots and stuff, he can actually have a good presence.
Okay, when does he like to be active?
So level 3 on his bash, probably, I don't know, 7.
That's like a laning stage though, right? So like, we're talking like past laning stage. For the, you know, you asked me to skip the laning phase here. So
Correct.
Everything I'm asking about is in relevance to, you know, level 6 plus.
I don't know, I think Slardar likes to be active all the time after the laning phase.
Okay, so that is just, simply put, a misconception. Slardar fucking farms it up, baby! From minute 7 until minute, like, 18. That hero just hits creeps. That's all he wants to do. Slardar is insanely good 1v1, and he wants to 1v1 somebody, and last thing he wants is a forced fight to his lane. Does he mind fighting? Only if it's just the carry and he's chasing him down. That's what he wants to do. I do have a Slardar guide. If you feel like you don't understand Slardar, I actually highly encourage you to watch it because there will be a decent amount of Slardar in this patch. This hero likes to hit the creeps because with like 2 items, he's a god. With like no items, he just dies. Like he can't hit anybody. It's actually that he can't, it's not that he dies, he just can't hit anybody. If there's one hero, he bashes them and stuns them and bashes them. If there's 2 heroes, he's getting rooted. He's getting silenced, right? He just can't do anything. So what I'm basically trying to get to your attention so we can save time with the coaching session, 5 kill heroes, farm, farm, farm. That's what your cores do. Mm-hmm. So what's happening here is you are trying to initiate kills. You TP behind Sand King, you TP top and like, you know, looking for like you're being aggressive by sprouting somebody. I would need you to take this lesson as you have 3 farming cores and they have 5 killing heroes and you're trying to play a kill game.
Wow, I like that is so bad when you say it like that. So, so what's the what should I do? What's the strategy for this game? How do I play?
What basically your job as support any game really is to say, what do my cores want to do? How can I best make that happen? I understand what your hero wants to do, but at the end of the day, I would view this as you have a very active support. You could be active at any point, and theoretically, your teammates kind of griefed your pick, meaning like they neglected your pick. Nobody on your team can capitalize on your aggression for like 20 minutes. You know, Slardar Lifestealer mid-game can be pretty aggressive, you know?
Yeah.
Get 2 items, run at them. So the exact lesson I would give you for this game would be your first priority always has to be like, what do your cores do? Because at the end of the day, they're the strong ones. And if you're doing it all alone, this is what it looks like, right? It's just kind of TPing in and dying. But
it's a heavy lesson.
Yes, but what you can do for connecting the dots here that will be hopefully, I don't want to say like comforting, but it'll it'll add some clarity to the situation. Is this is what my cores want to do, and this is what I want to do. Now, I need to connect the dots. My cores want to farm, I want to do stuff. When do my cores want to do stuff? That is the question I need to ask myself. So, what you would think is maybe Lifestealer Armlet, maybe Slardar Blink Dagger, maybe OD. I don't even know when that hero does stuff, I'll be honest. So, it's just like, I think about what I want to do, I realize it's not happening, and then I just, basically, I ask myself that question, and then I have like a decent idea of when we will start doing things, and then that's basically me saying to you that you're now playing reactionary Dota. That you're now like, what is the opponent gonna try to do? How can we mitigate that? Maybe with some wards. If you're a different support, maybe you sit behind cores that you think might get ganked. If you see pressure on certain towers, maybe you like use your ultimate to defend the tower. If you're concerned about Ursa being off map, maybe you play around Roche and put a point in trees so that you can scout the Roche pit. These are all just like potentials.
Yeah. And I never think about it like this. Like, especially if I pick like offensive heroes, Veno, even Invoker, I like to use like very offensively. The number one thing is how do we pressure? But then if my heroes can't pressure, my impression of this game, I remember it distinctly, was everybody's AFK farming. What the hell are they doing? And then we lost. Like, as you said, this is the lineup. You have to respect it and play according to it.
Yeah, and the thing is that I know we were gonna go really far into this game, but I almost feel like, based on what you said, and I'm pretty confident the message has gone through, that we've kind of just summed up this game.
Like, yeah, absolutely. It's like crazy. You know,
yeah,
like
it's
1 minute.
cool how that works, right? So rather than watching a bit more of the replay, we'll spend the last couple minutes just talking about this as an entire concept. So hopefully when you experience a similar game in the future, you will remember this moment. Maybe you'll have your few TP deaths, you know, and then you'll be like, oh, yes, I remember this now. So I want to point out that, like, knowing how to play your allies' heroes is way harder, like, way higher skill than playing your own. And that doesn't mean I have to be able to literally play Slardar, but I have to have, like, a general sense of what this hero likes. That's why I enjoy making the hero videos that I do, the hero guides, because they're not just meant to teach you how to play Slardar. It's meant to just kind of tell you about Slardar. And so you could just be a 4-position player or a carry player that's laning against Slardar, and I want to give you, as best I can, a little bit of a glimpse into his head, you know, what that guy's doing. And sometimes what happens is, if I know how to play Slardar, it's like, meaning if I literally play Slardar, I can watch a guy playing Slardar and be like, that guy has no idea how to play Slardar. Because, like, I can tell, like, if he's trying to be active, right? If he's, like, running into 3 heroes at 12 minutes, it's like, that's not what Slardar's supposed to do. I actually said the other day that I was playing Wraith King and I bought a Midas, and then I had a Slardar offlane, and a lot of fights were happening in my lane. And I was like, man, I should have been able to predict that a lot of fights would be happening in my lane, because my teammates are like rank 100 immortals, you know? They're gonna not go to the Slardar's lane, they're gonna come to mine. And then I was like, I really wish I had an armlet. And I'm like, if I had thought carefully about my offlane hero, I would have bought an armlet rather than a Midas, because I had a really good start. So I was just thinking like, oh, I'm gonna like push out the wave, farm with skeletons, I'm gonna be chill. And that's like a perfect example of me thinking about my own game and not thinking about my teammate. And Slardar's doing nothing wrong. We won the game because Slardar, like, there was so much fighting in my lane and we were still doing okay. And Slardar was absolutely free farming his lane. But like, I'm fighting with a Midas instead of an armlet. So it's like, well, that's not ideal. So, I mean, you'll have the answer to this question in the sense that, like, what do you do now? It's literally anything that's not being active. You know, you can think about counter ganking. You can think about if you see them overextending into you, you can be ready to TP as a reaction. You can think of stacking, efficiency stuff. You can think of, like, in this case, you don't really have a stack clearer, so you might just jungle, to be honest. Like, you could just fucking jungle. You could, like, plop a ward down here, which maybe helps your safe laner feel a bit better, and you would feel a bit safer jungling here, and then you just jungle, you know? It's really funny, because I think your job this game against, like, Sand King, Storm, Ursa is just not fucking die. Like, that's actually your job. Like, meaning you're gonna die. Like, sorry, you're a ranged support with no innate survivability, and you're against, like, 3 people that want to blink or gap close on you and kill you, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So minimizing deaths would actually be my goal for this game, and having that be where I kind of set up camp somewhere near whatever core I think maybe has the best turn potential. Like they go on them, and maybe we can make something happen out of that. So yeah, you know, I really encourage this mindset of like curiosity of like, I don't understand this, instead of thinking it sucks. Why don't I understand this? What is happening here? There are times where your teammates are being really toxic, really brainless. They're not actually thinking about the game. But the majority of the time, people are kind of vibing and just playing their own hero. The people won't do what I'm asking you to do right now, which is to think about their hero. Your teammates won't do that, okay? On average. They're in your bracket. Like, people in my bracket don't even do that. Okay, reliably. So if we can get you doing the extra stuff, that's how we're going to separate you from these guys. Trust that they're playing their hero most of the time, you know? And if what will end up happening is if you trust that, if you trust that they're playing their hero the way that they're supposed to play it, generally speaking, you know, they might be misclicking some buttons or whatever, but they're conceptually in line with what the hero kind of does. What will end up happening is you'll start to develop a profile for every hero in the game. Like, just kind of this rough sketch of what you think this hero plays like. And then you'll be even more confident when somebody, like I said, just isn't playing the hero properly. Like, they're just doing things that you've never seen anybody else do, and it's not working. It's not like the guy's 10-0, you know? He's like 0-5 doing these things.
Yeah.
And it's like, there are some times where people break convention, and it's like genius, you know? They came up with some cool idea. But honestly, the majority of the time, especially in your bracket, it's just going to be the guy probably being mad and feeding. So those are the type of players where you see them and you're just like, okay, like, once again, we're not judging him. We're not like upset that it sucks. It's just like, okay, he doesn't know what he's doing. What about these other two guys? Can we do something with these other two guys? And like, it's a really funny mindset to have, because you actually end up laughing it off. All you're doing is simply acknowledging, like, this fucking sucks. You know, how often do you see these stand-up comedians just talk about shit that fucking sucks and people laugh at it? It's actually really funny to, like, talk about how shitty something is, but, like, not in a whiny tone. Just like, dude, that guy doesn't know what he's doing, you know? So yeah, this is the kind of game that's great practice for that, and it really sucks when that happens, but you'll be able, so eventually, this is the last lesson I got for you. This is the process I imagine that will happen to you in your own way. You're going to run into a similar situation like this, where you try to make things happen because you're nature's prophet and it's hard to break old habits. And then you're going to die a few times. And then you're going to be like, like, I remember this moment, yada, yada, yada. And then slowly but surely, maybe it'll be 1 death instead of 2. Maybe it'll be like you're considering TPing, and then you're like, oh, yes. And then the final epoch of this saga is that you see it at the start of the game.
Yeah.
That is the goal. That is the inevitable goal. Now, that's 3 or 4 steps away. I only want you to look at the next step right now, which is just kind of be aware that when you feel like you're forcing something, it's probably this. If you feel like you're forcing it, ask yourself if this is happening. Okay? And then that's your homework. Find a game where some semblance of disconnect between you and your cores, you feel like it's happening.
Yeah.
And I want to hear your thoughts. You know, I just want to hear, like, did you feel like you adjusted properly? What did you try to do? Did you think it was good? What would you have tried differently next time? These are the type of thoughts, you know, that I just want to hear. Any questions?
Yeah, man, no, that makes sense. Thanks a lot for pointing this out.
Yeah, no problem, dude. I'll see you next time. It's always fun coaching you.
Thanks. Have a good day.
See you later.